You're watching Oilers Nation Everyday with Tyler Yaremchuk. Your one-stop shop for all things Oilers.
127 minutes, 13 seconds.
And 4 milliseconds.
That's how long it's been since Skinner gave up a goal. Let's get into it with the lead. Hand up. I know I am not as good of a singer as you. I don't hit those notes.
Well, I was in the choir once, you know.
As a wee lad in England, back home.
Do you know I have a poem published?
You do? Well, we've done this bit.
Have we done this one already?
We did this bit.
I'm running out of life stories.
We found the book.
Yeah, we should have bought it. Young Riders, Autumn Edition 2000 and...
You're crazy.
6?
You are a crazy person.
Something like that.
The Edmonton Oilers are off to the Western Conference Final for the third time in 4 years.
Kind of crazy to think about.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Look around. Look around. Look at our lives. Look at what we've built.
Who'd have thought? Look at us.
Do you know...
Wait. We're coming to you live from the Sports Closet studio. From jerseys to hats to the legendary foam finger, you'll find it all and more at the Sports Closet. The show's a presentation of Bet365. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION. Whatever the moment is never ordinary. Bet365. Liam, what do you think?
Let's go on a little trip down memory lane,
Sure.
shall we? Do you remember the first time they went to the Western Conference Finals of this run? Not 06 or
Swept by the Colorado Avalanche.
But do you remember going into that thinking like, well, if the Oilers play well, that'll be fun?
Yeah, I did not think they were going to win.
I had nothing. But that first game was nuts. Obviously, I think that was the Cale McCaw goal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was in game one because they lost like 6-5.
Yeah, but I never felt in the moment that they were going to win anything.
Yeah.
You go to Dallas last year. I think we all believed, but we're still a little bit unsure of where we were going to be at with things. Obviously, Dallas recently been to his cup final. They were the Dallas Stars. We were the Edmonton Oilers. There wasn't a lot behind
we
it.
talked in our Uber ride to the Ross Shop for Less store, or Dress for Less.
Oh, yeah, to get the bag.
To get the bag. And you and I in the Uber at like 10 a.m. on a random Tuesday, we're like, damn, they're in the Western Conference Final. Like, this is awesome. And don't get me wrong, this is awesome. And I feel like this is kind of where we were going. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
But MF, they're winning the Stanley Cup.
Man, I was talking to Wanye downstairs, and Wanye loves the Oilers. Obviously, he's one of the founders of Oilers Nation. Mm-hmm. And I told him, I was like, I think they're the best team left.
Yeah. And
the only team that can beat them is themselves. And he couldn't believe it. It just seemed like such a crazy thing to think about, that the Edmonton Oilers, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but like quickly becoming like the best team standing. Mm-hmm. And they rolled over Vegas. I know last night was only 1-0, but like that wasn't because Vegas played so well. It's because the Oilers played so well and kind of allowed Vegas to not get anything. Like the way they're just able to dictate their own games and create their own different style from game to game, it makes them so difficult to play against. I know you were chatting with our friend Ryan Whitney yesterday, and you guys were talking. Like, nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense at all. And I can't wait for the Oilers to beat the Carolina Hurricanes in the Stanley Cup final.
Think back to our journey throughout the year. Remember when they came out of the Four Nations break and immediately lost 4 straight hockey games? That sucked. I mean,
it was 5.
Was it? Well, they lost the one going into the break too. So yeah, it was a 5-game losing streak. But they came out of the break, back-to-back games. Philly, Washington lost 6-3, 7-3. There were some dark moments this year. There were some moments where I don't want to say we lost our belief, but certainly didn't feel like a Stanley Cup year. Did the bit, phone, cancel the parade. Next day they won, called, parade's back on, all that shit.
Should we just not do this show for 82 games a year? Like, I feel like we can all just move on from the regular season.
Like, no one gives a shit about it.
No, and just meet up in late April and all get back on the rails together.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like, what are we doing?
I don't know, man.
But please don't stop the show.
Yeah, we need to. That's how we pay our
mortgages. I got to do 82 pre and post, so keep tuning.
Yeah. We do need to like actually do our jobs because this is our jobs. You okay?
Go nuts.
Okay. we got a lot to get to today. And like, there's so many fun storylines to talk about, so many different sort of segments I want to do. Zach Lang's going to join us in studio. He's going to put a bow on this series. There was something Brian said in the chat that I really, really want to talk about as well. But first, so many of you just dropped in super chats. So our YouTube chat's brought to you by Odd Company Brewing, Nation Beer Everyday Lager, a crisp, clean lager crafted not just for game day, but for every day. And hey, there's some off days coming up here that you're going to want to maybe stay well hydrated for a full weekend without Oilers hockey. How do I close this stupid AI summary?
There we go.
Take a bow dropped in $5. Boardsy asked if the LA series was a regicide, what would the Vegas series be? I don't know, but the Oil came out with a royal flush. I mean, a bit of a casino joke, I suppose.
Ooh.
Sure.
It's a good one.
It's better than anything I had.
Who was that one? Sorry, Take a Bow.
Take a bow.
I don't believe we've heard from Take a Bow before.
No, I don't think we have.
Thank you for your comment and your donation.
QF Bro, fun fact, the Oilers scored every game-winning goal in that series. Love you, Leon. I mean, yeah, they're a bad break away from potentially sweeping the Golden Knights. Who cares? We're through them in 5. Mr. Taxi Squad says Knobloch means garlic in German. Yes. Skinner means winner in English. Hell yeah, Ryan Spakowski. Cup year dropped in $27.99. Could you imagine if we sorted the cup and we get to say the hardest team we faced was the LA Kings? Cup year, I mean, Dallas is going to be a test, but again, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Jaren's in. Is Nobby just playing chess backwards? Take out the king, take out the knight, queen next, medieval sweep. Can't believe Tyler hit that one. My bet last night. Yes, we'll talk about that in a moment.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Bosch is in. Liam, please. No, we're not doing all the Liam talking stuff.
Why?
That feels borderline offensive to you, to have you read all of that.
Please say... No, that is a lot.
Yeah,
Thank you for your donation.
Yeah, thanks for the donation, but we're not going to read that. All right.
I'll do the other one.
Schedule?
Yeah, schedule. People think my dad says schedule. I say schedule.
My future father-in-law says schedule.
Yeah, no, it's schedule.
It's schedule.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, different strokes, different folks. Mm-hmm. Should we do a little scoring summary? No, let's do a couple of other things before we get
it won't take as long.
Yeah, it really won't. Well, let's just change up the partners maybe on it. Our scoring summary is brought to you by, where's my ad sheet? Let's do Litco Law. Litco Law, you're sponsoring the scoring summary today. Quick, Liam, fill time while I pull up the ad.
Litco Law.
Litco Law plays... I'm so sorry, Litco Law.
Way to cover.
Litco Law plays for Team U. They're Alberta-rooted, Edmonton-proud, and when it comes to fighting for everyday folks, they don't back down ever. When insurance companies play dirty, they drop the gloves. If you've been injured and you want to fight for your right to fair compensation, or you've been denied your long-term disability benefits, contact Litco Law today. Stop by their office right here in town, or visit them online at litcolaw.com. Lawyers you'll love, they do exist over at litcolaw.com. Shout out to our new friends at Litco Law. Shout out to the scoring summary, which is a pretty easy one today, gentlemen. The game goes to overtime, and at the 7:19 mark of OT, Kasperi cheeks Kapanen finds the back of the net. An unbelievable dogged effort. A second, third whack at it. Leon Draisaitl saw it first. The hand in the air from Kapanen. The Oilers are off to a Western Conference final. 1 goal, Liam.
It's crazy. I don't know. It just seemed like it was going to be very difficult to beat Aiden Hill, obviously, and took something a little bit greasy to do it. But that line, a waiver claim, a guy who was sent to you because his organization didn't want him anymore in Podkolzin, and one of the best players this league has seen in the last 50 years. Somehow, I've just turned into this great line the last 2 games of obviously producing the game-winning goal, but also just shutting down Jack Eichel for 2 straight games. Incredible stuff from this trio, and I'm glad it was Kapanen because I think he deserved it for the way he played, especially in the last game. And it also just seemed to really extend the storyline of this is everyone. This isn't just Draisaitl and McDavid. This is everyone chipping in. Let's not forget Josh Brown played a game with this team.
He somehow did, yes.
Somehow played a game. Now he's a black ace, and here we are knocking down the Vegas Golden Knights, a team everyone is hated for a while now, and to get that revenge on them on the anniversary of them knocking us out of the playoffs a few years ago too, and seeing Stu, man, his shutout streak continuing, it's awesome. It kind of leaves you speechless. I was jumping around my room yesterday, just being like, this is nuts. I couldn't believe it. I can't believe it, but it seems so unreal.
And I do kind of go through like the different waves of like fan emotion when I'm watching, because like I remember when Connor McDavid scored that goal against the Calgary Flames in overtime. And I remember sitting on the floor at in my apartment at the time and talking to Amber and just being like, something good happened.
Yeah, I know.
Like, and I know we had Game 7 that year against the LA Kings, but like winning the Battle of Alberta, getting an overtime winner, it was just like something good happened to us. The break went our way. And it's so interesting to look back at since then. I know they don't have a Stanley yet, but like since then, you just get so many breaks that go your way. And I'm now at the point where I'm conditioned. It goes to OT. And yeah, I'm nervous as shit because I'm still do a little bit of the, oh man, if Vegas scores next, oh shit, then like, how does this series change? But then there's also the party that's just like, this Oilers team just comes through. Like they go to overtime, they win games in overtime.
They can just decide how they want the game to go.
That's really what last night felt like.
Like, Stuart Skinner obviously had to make some saves. I think he made, let's say, 3 or 4 strong saves. Aiden Hill made a few as well, but like, I don't think the Oilers gave Vegas a lot to play with. They didn't do it for 2 games, and it just shows the quality of players they obviously have in the team, and then also the quality of coaching staff that they have and their ability to just do whatever they want. And the power play sucks. Ironically, out of all this, the power play is the worst part.
Yeah, the power play going ice cold, not having a road goal is absolutely insane. Yeah. Rusty is in the chat and says, I know this has been said on multiple accounts, but we really do owe Skinner an apology. We?
Not us.
Not us.
You guys.
Yeah, we don't owe.
I'm getting on camera for this because, please, truthers, believers, whatever words you want to use.
We definitely don't owe Stuart. We are Stuart, like, haters. You can apologize to us.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dougie.
Come on. I mean, Stuart Skinner was unbelievable. And for anyone who doubted him, he has a high ceiling. He's a high ceiling, low floor goalie. Mm-hmm. And he's also 26 years old.
Yes, he's a lot of path left ahead.
Sometimes development's not a straight line. Sometimes guys have bad years, whatever. Stuart Skinner always obviously had this in him. And go back through last year, the numbers in games 4 through 7. He steps up for this team. Does he let them down sometimes too? Yup. But he steps up for this team. And anyone who believed that he had, what did Steve Dangle say? Steve Dangle at one point earlier in the LA series said Stuart Skinner should never play another NHL game again.
Steve Dangle.
Yeah.
I think he's got bigger problems.
Yeah, probably. What's old Mitchie Marner up to there, Steve-O? All in good fun, of course. Stuart Skinner, career and closeout games from Sportsnet Stats. What was the guy's? I forget the guy's name.
I don't know.
Whatever. Good work, buddy.
I feel like it was Steve.
Yeah, Steve something.
Filowich.
It sounded like Felon. Steve Felon.
Steve Felon?
I think it's Steve Felon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did say Filowich, so that's
like that
right.
scene in Anchorman 2 where he gets walked in on when he tries to hang himself. And everything he says like sounds like a lie. He's like, I tried to kill myself. And the guy's like, yeah, that's the truth. But why are you saying it like a lie? Totally off topic. Stuart Skinner in closeout games, 5-1 record, 1.97 goals against average, 926 save percentage, and 1 shutout, baby. Woo!
I actually have some more advanced stats on it. Aaron, did Pat send you the thing yet? He sent me a picture of it, so if he hasn't, it's okay. I got them in front of me. So
Are they their stats?
These are stats and facts.
Okay.
So Stuart Skinner has played in 13 games from Game 5 to Game 7 in his playoff career. He has lost 2 of them.
Okay.
Game 7, obviously, against Florida last season, unfortunately. And then also lost... I don't
think that's the only loss he has in games 5
the
through
only
7.
one.
5 through 7, yeah.
Yep. He has a 908 save percentage, and the only game that really lets him down in that, and he did actually get pulled, was the Vegas Game 6.
Oh, yeah.
Which was 2 years ago yesterday.
Oh, yeah, so I guess he would have 2 losses. Yeah, Florida and the
that
Vegas
was the other one,
game.
yeah. 768 in that. 765 in that game. He allowed 4 goals on 17 shots and was pulled. 2 years later, he redeems himself with a 24-save shutout and advances the Oilers to this.
His interview with Gene, where he said, like, he's like, I felt a lot of peace tonight.
Yeah.
I felt like, and Louis had this take on Sportsnet after, and I was texting him about it because I just thought it was bang on. He looked so calm in the crease.
There you go.
There's the numbers on Stuart Skinner in games 5 through 7, 11-2 in his career, 908. Just remarkable. He did not make one sprawling save, diving save. I think about the one where it was a quick pass across, and I think it was Keegan Colasar who tried to rip it top corner. And like by the time Colasar even looked up at the net, Stu was there. And for all the talk about his lateral movement and things like that, I looked at that save. I was watching the game with my buddy Connor, and I was like, he doesn't move over that quick against LA. Like he was just totally poised, man. And there was no point in that game where I like kind of winced and was like, oh, Stu. But like he was so good, man. He was so good. He deserves his flowers.
I think Natural Born Gorilla made a great point.
Yeah, player.
When Stu is good, Pickett isn't better. When Stu is bad, Pickett is better. Pickett is very dependable and reliable. Stu is very much hot and cold. I completely agree.
Yeah. But like again, Pickard gives you that sort of middle level. I don't know if this is even. I don't think this is a hot take. I don't think they win that game last night with Calvin Pickard. I bet you they lose 1 or 2-0. And again,
I think it would have been a different game.
It might have been a different game, but like my point being, like the line and the area where Calvin Pickard can kind of get you and where he exists, you could say, that can help you win games. And obviously he's 5-0. He didn't lose, so like who am I to doubt him? But to truly win a Stanley Cup and win all 16 games that you need a couple of games where you aren't in this area. You're above it. And Stuart Skinner, go back to last year, how well he played in game 6 and 7 against Vancouver. I know they won 5-1 in game 6, but like, I don't know, Dallas game 6. You look at how well he played in some of those games against Florida once they really needed him to. Like,
last season in those closeout games, in the 5 through 7 games, the LA game was his worst at 8:57. But again, if you remember, we spoke about it a few times the last couple of weeks. One of the pucks goes off the camera hole and goes to the middle of the ice, goes to a wide open net. The other goal was a 6-on-5. And the Oilers had already scored an empty net, I believe. So take that for what it's worth. The Vancouver game as well, 882 he finished with. He only faced 17 shots. Vancouver didn't score until the last couple of minutes of the game to make that anything.
Yeah.
He was solid in that game too. I will say, it's frustrating that sometimes he can just disappear in the opening couple games of a round, but if he's showing up in the moments you truly need him within the series, and that's what counts.
Yeah.
And he's, 11-2?
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's got to be one of the best in the league.
And he's gone 127 minutes, 13 seconds, and then 4 milliseconds or whatever without giving up a goal. All right, to wrap up the scoring summary for our friends at Litco Law, in a season where nothing makes sense, it's the waiver claim from November from the team that offer sheeted 2 of your young stars that ends up being your hero. Man, crazy stuff.
Also, Connor Brown put on his Instagram story last night, Cheeks.
He did.
So the nickname's real.
The nickname is real.
Also, something else we seriously need to discuss. Why does Kasperi Kapanen not sound like he's from Finland?
Does he just sound normal? I didn't listen
never
to
heard
his
his
interview.
interview?
normal.
It's like he's
It
just
throws you off.
I shouldn't
how
say normal
is.
because Finnish people are normal.
Sorry, yeah.
No,
so
accent.
Western. Western.
I know his dad obviously played in the NHL, so I'm sure he
Grew up a lot here.
But he did play his junior hockey in Finland.
Yeah.
Your doppelganger.
Oh, man, we said...
or P.T. Barnum. Sorry, P.T. Barnum.
P.T. Barnum.
You know what? I'll save that for our after show talk, this comment.
Also, the NHL just posted a video of Oilers fans reacting to the OT winner. Brett's in it, going nuts at Greta.
Really?
Yeah, they just posted it, yeah.
Oh, if the Oilers find out they did that.
The Oilers, can we get that?
The NHL posted it.
Okay, grab
can
that
we
video.
grab that?
I want to watch it on the show.
Okay.
Yeah, he grew up in North America. Yeah, I know. But the point is, he
But
played.
still, like,
he is Finnish, whatever.
Yeah. Also, it seemed like it was difficult for him to say hello in Finnish. It just made me laugh. But.
All right, let's keep cruising along with the show here. There's so much I want to unpack from this hockey game last night. I'm very happy that Zach's coming in because we can luckily just save a lot of stuff for when Zach gets here. But I want to do one big take. It's brought to you by Budweiser. Budweiser's been brewed in Edmonton for 45 years, and by partnering with Mark Messier, a proud Edmontonian, on this limited edition Budweiser can, which, I mean, it's beautiful that they did this, and we're off to the third round. They are reigniting the City of Champions spirit during the brewing process. They even brought back the original City of Champions sign into the brewery. It's a symbol of what this can stands for and the City of Champions mentality that Edmontonians have always had. Thank you to Budweiser. Here's my one big take, and I'm interested if you notice this too. And Aaron, I know you were doing your show, so maybe you weren't dialed in on it. The Vegas Golden Knights kind of seemed a little whiny in the handshake line. There wasn't a lot of like good series stopping, talking to Leon, talking to Connor. They gave off sore loser energy, if I'm being totally honest with you. Like, usually and I know, like, whatever, Mark Stone wasn't on the ice, so he, like, captain, all that. But, like, usually there's a little bit more, I want to call it, like, respect between the high-end players. They stop, say something, whatever. But, like, no one was stopping and saying anything to Connor McDavid. He went through this line so fast. There's, like, a little something there from Colasar. But, I don't know. I felt like Pietrangelo especially was a guy who, like, he came off, and maybe I'm painting the whole team in a brush when I really just was looking at Eichel and Pietrangelo. But, like, Eichel and Pietrangelo, that was a little embarrassing, I almost thought.
It did go by quickly now that you mentioned. I don't really put a lot of thought into this because I'm sure there is a lot of emotion, obviously, of like your season just ended and now you have to shake the guy's hands who've just ended it. Like, LA maybe is a bit more to it because of how they've got to know each other the last 4 years of just eliminating them year after year. Like, there's a few things you're right here and there, but nothing too major, was it? It did go by quickly, and you mentioned it. It's too bad. Really, really too bad.
Yeah, and Gaz says, no, I think the Golden Knights were just gassed, shocked. Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
They were tired. They
did,
yeah. And I think the Oilers did catch Vegas in a good spot with injuries, to be completely honest.
A little bit.
Obviously, Dorofeyev didn't start the series. Mark Stone didn't play. Brandon McNabb and Pietrangelo did not look like themselves. But like
counterpoint,
it's kind of the playoffs.
And counterpoint, Matthias Ekholm didn't play.
Yeah, but that's 4 players versus 1.
Dorofeyev made his way in. Stone played every game except for the last one. Pietrangelo and McNabb actually played. And if you want to say they looked bad because of their injuries, I would argue there were games Leon Draisaitl looked ineffective because he's clearly playing with something. Zach Hyman didn't score. I think something's bugging him right now. Like, it's the playoffs. Everybody's hurt. And, like, being healthy is a part of going on a run. So
that is a crazy one.
Like, the Eichel, do you have the ability to go back like 2 seconds?
Don't even look at him. Yeah, a little bit there. Thomas Hurdle.
That's almost worse than I remember it last night.
Not a word.
And listen, we're not going to clip this because I don't need to, like, whatever, but, like, that's such a bitch move. If you're a superstar player, like, face of the franchise guy,
especially those two,
you give Connor McDavid his GD respect.
He won't even look at him.
What a fool. Oh, Eichel, you.
And the thing is, too, like, those guys, obviously the same draft class, they would have gone through that together and, like, the tours and everything they would have done, like, they would have got to know each other a little bit. I'm not saying they're best friends by any means, but I'm sure there's a bit of respect there. That just seems odd. And I'm sure it is a level of frustration. Like, Jack Eichel was just shut down for 2 straight games. Yeah, crazy. Do you know one thing I did notice last night? Here's my one big take. Keegan Colasar was really, really trying to push the Oilers over the edge and put his presence in this series.
He was trying to edge the Oilers for sure.
And it did not work.
No, they didn't buy into his shit at all.
Didn't do anything to do with it. Like, it was, obviously, I think he was warming at the net. He grabbed, and no one really bid on it. Like, there was obviously a bit of a scrum. That was it. He obviously got the trip on Trent Frederick, and then, like, you just didn't hear from him. Like, you could tell they were trying to trigger the Oilers, like the Oilers triggered them in game 4, and it just became so irrelevant. And to me, it just showed the level of maturity of what this Oilers team is.
And, like, on the ice, off the ice kind of maturity from the Oilers is, I think, a really good point. Like, again, they are a team that now knows how to win, and we can absolutely put them in that category. Bigger picture-wise with the Vegas Golden Knights, is this team, pardon the pun, are they over the hill a little bit? The window's not slammed. The window's not slammed shut, but, like,
Pietrangelo ain't what he used to be.
He's not. Mark Stone's really not, and, like, who knows when he's ever healthy. But, like, I don't know, man. I get that they have the $9 million in cap space. They got to sign how many forwards with that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. They got to sign 3, 4 forwards with the $9 million. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't think there's a knight in shining armor, to use that analogy, waiting for them on the market this summer. Like, they can't afford Marner. And Marner wouldn't do much to change them. Like, they have no prospects, no picks.
They have also, too, just signed everyone. Like, everyone's signed.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's got term.
Yeah.
Eichel only has 1 more year, which is kind of funny.
I think they'll still be a strong team. Obviously, they did win the division.
Yep.
But they're getting to the peak for sure. Like, Ivan Barbashev was relevant in this series.
I felt like they just needed one more scoring threat, which I thought that was Barbashev. That was Dorofeyev in the regular season. But
well, they just have no wingers.
Yeah.
And all their
Nick
sentiment.
Waugh was playing wing.
Yeah, like all their sentiment of passes, none of them are goal scorers. So I think they really try. I don't know Dorofeyev
They need a
had
goal.
35
That's a good
goals,
point.
but like they just don't have a goal scorer.
And I do think as much as like Dorofeyev at $1.8 million for next
What
year.
a deal!
Oh my God.
That is
Insane.
a great deal.
And you never obviously fluke into 35 goals, but I also wonder how much of that is a product of the fact that like no one else there scores. Right?
No
like,
one scores.
He's the trigger man, which is crazy that again on that team. And Hurdle had a good year, but like I don't know, man. I just look at this. I look at the Oilers, and I know the Oilers are a little bit older, but like Connor and Leon are going to be effective for another decade. And listen, Nugent Hopkins is Nuge, and Hyman. I know he took a bit of a step back, but even in that great year. Not a ton of young talent outside of Savoy coming up through the system for the Oilers, although Sam O'Reilly, I think, is maybe a guy to keep an eye on.
Boakey.
I think the Oilers have more in their system than Vegas, though, is kind of the point I'm making.
Yes.
And their best players will continue to be impactful for a long time. Evan Bouchard's going to be a great player for a decade. I mentioned the forwards. Like, I don't know, man. Going forward, I think there's a lot of teams in this Pacific Division who need to sit there and be like, well, shit, the Oilers aren't going anywhere. How are we going to keep up? I think that's a legitimate question.
I think I can't believe we didn't see Rafael Lavar in the series. By the way,
That would have been funny.
speaking of scoring wingers, next season in the NHL is going to be
Fascinating.
the swing year.
You think things flip-flop?
I just think you're going to look at things like Vegas and LA, and I know LA have a new GM, obviously, in Ken Holland, and they'll get Connor McDavid in a couple of years too.
Well,
obviously.
I mean, you can't deny that connection.
No, you cannot. They had so much success. But you have Anaheim coming. San Jose, I know they're kind of just in the start of their rebuild, but they're getting better. Vancouver and Calgary aren't just going to sit on their hands and just wait to get better. Like, they're going to try and do it right away. Like, I think next year in the Pacific Division, for me, it's only the Oilers that are like legit playoff lock. I think Vegas and LA are more than likely, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like, I think they're going to get pushed very, very hard. And it's a division that's quickly going to become what the Metropolitan was a few years ago, where it's like, well, all 8 teams could make the playoffs. Maybe not Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle stinks. I don't like Seattle at all. Impactful Golden Knights forwards that will be under the age of 30 next season. Because I see Mulick put it in there. Like, Brett Howden, I suppose.
Under 30? Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Oh.
Nicholas Waugh will be, that's his 29-year-old season. It's Eichel's 29-year-old season. And then obviously Dorofeyev. But like, again, it's a team that's aging the wrong way here.
They only have Trevor Connolly. He's their only first-round pick left that they've ever
Crazy.
drafted. It's crazy to think that first year they had Nick Suzuki.
And they traded him for Pacioretty.
Pacioretty.
And then had to cap dump Pacioretty.
Yes, they dumped him for a 7th-round pick, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Where did he go? Oh, Washington and got injured? Is that right? He definitely got injured. Carolina.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Carolina,
Reese.
good call. Reese.
Yeah, that guy, Mike.
Get that guy a freaking paycheck.
Yeah.
Don't pay the man. But yeah, they traded him with Dylan Coughlin for future considerations. Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, again, that, and everyone loves it and everyone applauds it. That hyper aggressive, we're never going to have to rebuild because we will just keep getting the.
Eventually, it runs out.
Eventually, it'll catch up to them. And I just don't wonder if it's going to catch up a little bit.
This kind of relates to both. It's my one big take. Kasperi Kapanen's The Truth. Shutout Pete Blackburn has more goals in this series than Eichel, Hurdle, Dorofeyev, Barbashev, Howden, and Saad combined.
That's a lot of goose eggs.
a lot.
That is another part of this, too, is like Edmonton played great. Full marks to the Oilers. We're obviously going to give the Oilers full marks for winning a series in 5 games that everyone thought they were going to lose. But
And they really wanted to let you know yesterday that everyone thought they were going to lose that series.
they did. They've bought into that underdog mentality, which I love. Every good team does it. Like the Kansas City Chiefs every year. They're the kings of it.
Yeah.
They talk about how no one believed that they could do it every year. And it's like, no, everyone believed
Knew,
you
they
could.
just
The
didn't want-
Patriots
they
used
just
to
don't
say
want
that.
it.
Yeah.
We'd win the Soupy every year.
Yeah. I love that the Oilers are buying into that. But as much as we're going to give the Oilers flowers, Vegas wasn't good.
Yeah.
Like, that is a part of this, too. If Edmonton plays at at their best and Vegas plays at their best, I think we all agree the series should probably go 7 games. It went 5 because Edmonton played at their best and Vegas stunk. And their best players didn't show up and Edmonton's did.
I think, too, because the Oilers didn't allow them to play at their best as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. Like, I know Dorofeyev, like we said, the contract is really good and 100% is, but like, does he bounce back with 35 goals again?
Who knows? Yeah, I mean,
Does
what
Brett
is he?
Howden get 20 again? You know, like, it's hard to say.
Can someone help Zach with the door?
Or was, whoever it could be.
It's probably Zach, considering
And
he's our
it's
guest.
Zach.
Zach, did you bring the
Hey.
dishwasher tablet?
I brought myself.
Oh,
no.
We have a huge dishwasher
That's
conundrum.
okay. Yeah, we have a big problem. We need to do the dishes in our apartment studio because we don't have water cups. That's why we've just been straight drinking out of our water bottles recently. But we don't have dishwasher tabs, and we all keep forgetting.
Well, we're not.
That's
I brought
okay.
laundry tabs from home.
Yeah,
So
we
we're
did.
halfway
We
there.
finally
We're
did
halfway.
laundry.
And I know what you're thinking. Just wash your dishes. We ran out of that too.
Yeah, we're out of just absolutely everything. So,
All right.
oh well.
Well, let's
On
get
that
him
note.
on the show.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. Star Mechanical Guest Line, Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company. You can find out more about them by visiting them online at starmechanical.ca. Whether it's residential, whether it's commercial, whether it's 24/7 emergency service, Star Mechanical can do it all. They are one of Edmonton's largest locally owned and operated companies. Once again, find them online at starmechanical.ca. While we get set up for Zach, I should also tell you that he's brought to you by Tourism Jasper this summer. Find your happy place in Jasper. From hiking trails, paddling wild waters, or sharing laughs by the fire, happiness finds you here. Jasper is open, vibrant, and ready to welcome you back for more unforgettable memories. So drive over, play outside, soak up the fresh air, enjoy some food and drink, and maybe even stay up late. Your best summer memories aren't behind you. They're waiting for you this summer in Jasper. As we welcome in Oilers Nation, Zach Lang to the show.
There's a lot of moving parts going on right
good.
now.
I hit the other camera. Damn it, Reese. This one's been hit.
That's good.
Camera
We
down.
smoked the camera, but we got Zach in.
Reese will fix it.
Yeah.
No problem. All right, let's go.
Zach, what was your prediction for this series?
Oil and 5.
lovely.
On the whiteboard
On the
downstairs?
whiteboard downstairs.
I was oil and 5 on the whiteboard as well.
Love
I
it.
was 6, but we'll take that.
We'll take it.
Yeah, it's still good.
One away.
Yeah.
One away.
That
All right,
was, I mean, so like on the meter, I've been a big onto this question of like Edmonton played great and dominated, Vegas played bad. I don't think it's all the way just Edmonton played great. Like there definitely is a good amount of like Vegas played bad in this series.
Yep.
But again, Oilers and 5 guys. Did the dominance still kind of surprise you?
Oh, definitely. Like, I said oil and 5 being like, let's be a little optimistic here. Like, I didn't actually expect it to be oil and 5. Like,
No, I thought
mean,
6 or 7.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be a longer series. I mean, Vegas was such a great team in the regular season this year. At times looking extremely dominant, but boy, like just these Oilers are something special. It feels like it really does. I mean, I didn't expect them to dominate this series the way that they did, and even last night, like I wasn't a huge fan of the way they played. Like it felt like Vegas was playing to not lose, and the Oilers were kind of playing down to it a little bit. But you know what? They had some looks, and they scored the one that mattered the most.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Like Vegas, and part of me wanted, like you said, playing not to lose, but they struggled so hard at getting into the middle of the ice through this whole series that I agree. Like part of it is they played bad, whatever, but also like just Edmonton keeping them to the outside and like not giving them quality chances at all. It was crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Leon Draisaitl, what a performance against Jack Eichel this series.
After Leon played as bad as he did in game 3, for him to just flip the switch and be like, yeah, okay, that, like, you know what, hand up on me. I got you boys going forward. And then Eichel didn't get a sniff in games 4 and 5.
Yeah, I mean, even early on in the series, it felt like most of the production that Eichel was getting was on the power play.
Yeah.
Right? And I felt like the Oilers really tightened up their PK. Felt like they got more disciplined as this series went on as well, which I thought was also a really, really good sign. Yeah, I mean, just really impressive play from this team. I can't believe we doubted them.
And I was looking through because I wanted to get to this part of the schedule. So you got to flip through on NHL.com. And it's like so many stretches where I was like, oh man, I remember being so down in the dumps after this and that. And I mean, to be sitting here now, third Western Conference final in 4 years for the Oilers, it's an unbelievable feeling. But also comparing it to some other runs in the past, like, I mean, they're getting help from everywhere. You think about when they got eliminated by Vegas 2 years ago, the 1 year out of the last 4 where they didn't go to the Western Conference final, and it's like Leon was scoring 4 or 5 goals in that one game, and it's like all the big guns were doing everything, and they just got caved because no one could stop Eichel and no one else could score. And you just look at the fact that this year it wasn't the big guns just getting through. It's like the depth of this team is unbelievable. And it's been so many different guys stepping up that it's hard to envision a world where they all go cold. Like it just feels like someone's always going to be able to step up for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one thing that's kind of been interesting, and I think I noticed it mostly last night more so than before, like it didn't really seem like McDavid and Draisaitl were pushing super hard
Yeah.
for offense as we've seen in the past. It almost seems like they can feel, or they have the confidence in the depth of this roster that's going to come through. I mean, look who scored the goal, Kasperi Kapanen, right? I mean, guy injected into the lineup just a game before, and he's played really, really well for them. And I think that's really interesting with McDavid and Draisaitl, because it almost feels like they're charging up now, right? Like they're charging up for the conference finals.
Saving their best for last.
Absolutely, right? So, yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in the next series.
I will say, though, one thing, and it's funny because we touched very, very briefly there on laughing at Steve Dangle and the Toronto Maple Leafs. But, like,
Oh, my goodness.
the storyline every year there being the Stars can't do it. And then in Edmonton, the storyline is always like, man, the Stars are doing it, but they can't get any help. This year, you're getting the help. But the Oilers' big guns also still know how to come through in real big moments. And you think back to the LA series, the first game winner in that series would have been the Bouchard goal, where Draisaitl set him up perfectly, right? You have 3 overtime games where Draisaitl scored the winner twice and then has a primary assist on the Kapanen winner. Like, the depth, awesome. While the production's not there for the big guns, whatever, their fingerprints are still all over this run, and they've been so clutch. Like, the timing of when those guys have stepped up has also been huge.
And that's the beauty of them, right? As McDavid said, I think it was, I can't remember what game it was after, but, we get paid to score the big goals. And that's exactly what they've been doing here. So, yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I mean, I love what we're seeing from this team right now. And we all got to remember, too, the Oilers are playing this well without Matthias Ekholm on the blue line.
Well, yeah, and, like, who knows if it's smoke or fire around him potentially coming back. Well, look at my hair. That's a
Damn.
tough look.
That's a third round man right
Put that
there.
lid back on.
How tight do you wear your hats?
I mean, I have like kind of the.
Jeez.
I know, but if I
Louise.
go one bigger, I can't go one bigger with this hat. That's life.
Whoa.
I don't know if I fully buy that Ekholm's coming back next round.
I don't buy it either.
I don't buy it at all.
I'm
He
almost.
literally, sorry, the other day when Skinner won that game and he was going into the dressing room, Ekholm limps away.
Yeah.
He's very hurt. Let's not forget, when he left, he could not stand up on the ice.
Like, he did not get hit or,
No.
he tried to play and fell down twice because his leg was so bad.
I don't want to put a dampener on the mood, but
No.
it's just
And
the
it will
reality of
be,
it, unfortunately.
and maybe part of it too is like me, pessimistic mindset. Like, I'm just going to choose to not get excited about the idea of Ekholm coming back. But like, from the stuff we've kind of heard, it's like, I mean, I was stunned to see that he was even skating the other day.
I was too. I'm very surprised by it.
Well,
Here's the ultimate. Sorry, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, selfishly, for the page views and the content,
Yes.
I hope we can keep talking about Matthias Ekholm potentially coming back into the lineup.
people clicking
because
those headlines.
People love it. People love it. So.
It's exciting. It's exciting to know that the Oilers do have a great player that's still sat on the sidelines that could come back and play. And I really hope he does. I'm not trying to kill the vibes here.
Yeah.
But if he comes back, Zach, what do you do?
That was going to be my Sherwood Ford Giant question for the day. Shout out to Nation Valet and our friends at Sherwood Ford the Giant. Never visit the dealership again for your routine car maintenance. Zach Lang helping us knock 3 ad raids out of the show. Shout out to Sherwood Ford the Giant. What do you do? Because I do think, obviously, there's people who are just like, well, it's Stetcher. But, Stetcher and Nurse look so good together that, listen, everyone's loving them. I get it. Maybe a case for John Klingberg to be the guy.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree because I really like the Wallman-Klingberg pairing a lot.
They did good against Eichel.
They did really good. And, Brett Kulak is an everybody whisperer.
That's fair.
And Kulak and Nurse together, I think could be really nice. If that, the caveat being, Matthias Ekholm needs to be 100%.
Because then if he's not 100%, you can't play him with Bouch because you need him to be because Evan Bouchard is a top pairing defenseman playing like a number 1 right now.
Absolutely, right? So if Ekholm's 100% and he comes back in, I think that's the only way it really makes sense is if Matthias Ekholm is genuinely absolutely 100%. Because the way the blue line is looking right now, it's been so good. It's been such a bright spot for this team in the playoffs. So I don't know. That's kind of the way that I look at it.
I think I would try and go at 11-7. First game, second game, whatever it ends up being.
Yeah.
Take out the forward that's not playing that well at the time. Honestly, maybe it's Kapanen. I know he's playing great right now, but we know what he is. I would look at something like that. Then I would be like, hey, which defenseman can I take out and become more of a traditional 12-6 team? Or hey, maybe Stetcher or Klingberg fall off a little bit here as well. Which I hope they don't, obviously, but just trying to think about it realistically.
It's a good, and someone just said it in the chat, Sean. It's a good problem to have, and it absolutely is, to be like, man, like Stetcher and Nurse looked again very good together last night, and I just have a really hard time. I really like Stetcher. I have a hard time pulling him out of the lineup, and I wonder how real this is from John Klingberg. Is maybe why I'm more pessimistic. Is like at some point, are we going to get like a really stinky run from John Klingberg? I think it's fair to wonder it, considering how quick the turn into a good defenseman was.
Yeah, I mean, like, see, this is the thing that's interesting about Klingberg too, because, you know, was he really a bad defenseman in Anaheim, Minnesota, and Toronto, or were his hips just that cooked?
Yeah, maybe.
I think it's becoming that.
Right? Because the way that he's back looking now that he's healthy, like, he looks like 80% of Klingberg of old. In his ability to skate, his ability to move the puck. He does so many nice, small little things to just buy an extra second or two with that puck on his stick. And that confidence with the puck on his stick is, I think, so important at this time of year, right? I mean, it's only going to be getting more difficult. I mean, it looks like it's going to be Dallas. They're up 3-1, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a team flying on all cylinders right now, and Mikko Rantanen looking tremendous. So, you know, I don't know. I think it's going to be really interesting. I don't know what the answer is.
It also, if the front office believes what you believe, that this is Klingberg can be 80-90% of what he once was, and you believe that maybe he's having an Oliver Ekman-Larsson-like turnaround to his career, I know it's easy to point to him because they're both Swedes, but like it raises a very interesting question of what your moves are this summer. Yeah. I think there's a lot of, and another caveat, I think there are maybe a lot of things that depend on, do you win the Stanley Cup, do you not? I think, does Corey Perry play next year? Do you win the Stanley Cup, do you not? Liam and I are not insiders. We do not do a ton of reporting. I think there's a Matthias Ekholm question of like, how banged up is he? Do you win or not win the Stanley Cup this year? What's his status for next season? So I don't know. The idea of Klingberg being a longtime Oiler, I obviously wouldn't have, scoffed at that idea 4 weeks ago.
I thought he was never going to play for them again.
Yeah, I did too. As soon as you heard the infection from Gregor, I was like, that's ominous. Like that feels like a guy who just doesn't want to play hockey right now. But all credit to him.
So I did some digging. You know, I like to do my research.
Yeah, you love digging.
He's a farmer.
I am. I'll be digging this weekend. So last year, did you see any of this, Zach?
I can't read. It's too small. I actually still don't know how to read.
I'm like,
we're working on it. Don't worry.
Co-chief editor of Oilersnation, everyone. Can't read. Okay. Going into the third round last year, how many points did Leon Draisaitl have to lead the Oilers? He led the Oilers.
22?
22. Zach, any guesses?
Let's say, let's go slightly under. Go 21.
Okay, Reese. 48. Reese, 24.
You said 40?
22. It was 12 games?
Reese is right. 24 and 12. Damn. McDavid had 21 and 12. He only had 2 goals, McDavid, which is funny. So to give you more to it, in the top 10 of scoring for the Oilers last season, going into the third round, they had 3 defensemen. Bouchard, obviously third, 20 points in 12 games, plus 10. Not bad.
Pretty good.
They had 4 defensemen, sorry. Ekholm was 7th. He had 6 points. Brett Kulak had 4 points. And Cody Ceci, of course, had 3 points. Obviously, it was game 7 in there, so naturally he scored a goal. This year, Connor McDavid leads the team in points going into the third round with 17 points in 11 games.
4 fewer.
Bum.
4 fewer?
Walk.
7 fewer.
For McDavid?
Connor McDavid
had 21, you said.
Oh, sorry. I meant leaders. He had 7 fewer than what Draisaitl
Yeah, you're
had.
right. Jesus,
in the top 10, only one defenseman is in the Oilers' top 10 of scoring, which is obviously Bouchard, who's third again and has 12 points. The rest of them is filled out with forwards. Hyman, who only has 8 points, Perry, Kane, Brown, Podkolzin, and Henrique. There is only one player on the team who has a negative plus-minus, and he's only played 1 game. It's
Josh Brown?
Stuart Skinner. Last season, the Oilers, going into the third round, and plus-minus, take it for what it is, Nurse, minus 10. Cody Ceci, minus 6. Warren Fogle, minus 6.
How the hell did they get out of the second round?
Vincent Desharnais, minus 5. Corey Perry, didn't have a point, minus 3. Ryan McLeod, 12 games, no points, minus 3. Henrique, minus 1, 2 points. Sam Carey played 5 games, minus 1. Derek Ryan played 9 games, 1 point, minus 1. I don't know how this team made it to the finals last year. I do know it was their top guys. But that's the difference. Is like now I know we're all talking about the depth and everything, but like the difference in numbers is crazy. And like, we are talking about McDavid and Draisaitl and how great they've been, but they've actually not been as great as they have been because they've just not had to be.
And what if the best is yet to come?
Which, let me do some more research. Carry on with the show.
Okay, well, I have some more stats. I was going to label this. I thought we were going to do it in an ad segment. I was going to label it Crazy Stats for Charm Diamond Centers.
Well, let's do that.
Home of the Charm Diamond Flexity card, where you can get approved for no interest financing on your purchase in just minutes. They have Canadian lab-grown diamonds, Canadian mined diamonds, and you can find it all at charmdiamondcenters.com. More than 85 locations across the country through Charm and their sister brands. The craziest number for me, and they talked about it on the broadcast last night, the Oilers with both Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl off the ice are outshooting the opposition 131 to 117. They are outscoring the other team 16-9 at 5-on-5 when Connor and Leon are both off the ice. And like, it seems sustainable. Like, the expected goals number is 55%. Like, this, I don't think this is a fluke. I think this is the Oilers having a bunch of talented, experienced players in their bottom six.
I think they're also healthy.
Well, that too.
And I think that's really helping them. But your first point is the correct point, and what's leading them is guys know what to do now.
Yeah.
They're here. You have a guy like Evander Kane who is currently healthy, which is huge. And like, they're finishing series quickly and just getting the job done. You know what I mean? Like, even that LA series, like, those past couple of games, I know they were a bit intense, but it never really felt like they were going to lose. You know what I mean? Like, it felt like the job was already done before it was. And now they're going into the conference finals, and you have to believe they're capable of beating whoever they end up playing. And honestly, would anybody surprised if that series ends quickly again? I honestly would not be. I just think the way this team is going, like, you talk about the Mikko Rantanen and how great he's been. Everyone else on Dallas has sucked. Their forward group hasn't been good at all.
Yeah, I mean, they're not really getting a ton of scoring from that second or third line. I mean, they got great players there. And
Totally.
That's kind of the scary thing about it. But yeah, like, they're not, like, I guess I did say that they were flying on all cylinders. I should have maybe just said it was Mikko Rantanen who's flying on all cylinders. I thought Hintz has been good too through the playoffs.
But with those two off the ice, they're getting outscored 16-8, or at least they were a couple games ago.
And with again with the way this forward group is rolling, with all those the offense they've been producing, like it's so interesting because like for so long we've been so critical of this organization consistently targeting like these aging veteran guys who maybe don't seem like they have a lot of jump in the regular season. And this kind of, to me at least, feels like the first year where like all of them are really clicking in the playoffs, and everybody seems to be kind of clicking at the right time. Like it's just so impressive the way this team has, as a whole, just completely turned it on here in the playoffs.
And I don't think they're getting lucky.
No.
Like, I think a lot of their goals, they are working damn hard to get them.
How many times have they scored digging away at pucks?
Totally.
Or
Yeah, the
like,
Kapanen winner is a great example.
It's a great example, right?
And even like that game 6 against LA, you look at it ended up being a Henrique goal, but Connor Brown's work on it, like, guys are around the net and he fires one. Like, Jay still thought it was Connor Brown's goal when he talked to him yesterday. But it's just like, that's the stuff. He's like, they're earning these goals. And in the past, it's just like, they were just having to like breakaways.
They've been so patient. That's the thing that I found too with the offense. They're not like overcommitting to it. And it was interesting. I don't know if you guys heard this last night. McDavid in his postgame was asked. He was very spicy.
It was very interesting.
It was. I'm going to write something about that later today. But, you know, when he was asked about Stuart Skinner, like, he was like, I hope this shuts everybody up, right? And then there was another one about getting asked about like the Oilers' defensive play and committing to the defense and stuff. And like, it was the exact same thing. He was like, I'm sick and tired of being asked this question. Like, look at what we've just done here.
Yeah.
And they're playing such patient, strong defensive hockey, and they're capitalizing on their chances when they're getting them. And like, that's the really, I think, one of the more impressive things about this too, is it's not like they're cheating for offense anymore. You know, especially McDavid and Draisaitl, like, take care of the own zone, let the offense come. The other teams, let them make the mistakes, and they've been capitalizing on it.
The other thing too, if this can get going, it will obviously change things. The power play is terrible.
It's crazy.
Someone, I'm sure it was that Sportsnet stat guy, Steve Filowich, whatever his name
Felon.
is. Steve the Felon.
I really feel bad because we might be butchering his name, but oh well.
Steve from
Sorry, Steve.
Sportsnet.
Yep.
They put out that the Oilers' power play since Game 3 is 38%.
Wow.
The Oilers scored one power play goal against Vegas. So it would have been much higher. But there you go. What is it? 9.1% there.
In round 2, yeah.
If that can figure itself out,
Yeah.
and I don't need them to win them the series. Yeah, 2 more goals in that. The Oilers probably finish this in 4 games anyway.
Yep, power play could have definitely changed it. Okay, we are very late because we have a second guest joining us today on the show.
Do we?
Devan Dubnyk. Doobie to wrap up the series. It's the Star Mechanical Gas Line, Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company. You can find out more at starmechanical.ca. Doubling up on the guest today as we welcome in former Edmonton Oilers goaltender Devan Dubnyk to the show. You see him on our pre- and post-game shows as well. We hooked you up with merch, too, the Nation Citizen lid. I like it.
Yeah, I figured I'd take the time to represent.
Very good. The Oilers win this series in 5 games. Let me just lob you one to start. The most surprising part of this series was blank.
Back-to-back shutouts for Stu.
127 minutes, 13 seconds, and 4 milliseconds. That is something. He looked so calm last night.
It was a major difference, and even though he was really good in Game 4, there was still a little bit of frantic movement. I thought like he was getting better. He obviously stopped all the pucks, but compared to Game 5, like right at the start, even when pucks weren't getting to him, it was like this is a completely different goalie. Completely different. He was just smooth and calm. Every time the puck moved around, he wasn't frantic. He wasn't in a rush. He was just there. And compared to all the other games that he's played thus far, it was a different goalie. Even the previous shutout game, I thought it just right from the get-go, I never felt like he was going to get scored on. He was right there on every play. He was making the scoring chances seem like nothing. And his rebounds were good. I mean, everything. Again, the Oilers did a great job in front of him. They didn't give up a ton, but everything that they gave up, it never looked like it was going in. And he was fluid and comfortable, and that was exciting for me to watch.
Can I just throw another thing? Because I know it's something you've talked to us about at all, but like the system in front of you being predictable, Vegas just basically never got to the middle of the ice.
Yeah, that was really it. And even when they had sustained time in Edmonton's zone, they did a good job of waiting. They were patient. They didn't go running around to open up the middle of the ice. When Vegas did try to force it there, whether it was a point shot or, plays that seemed like there was a guy open, he wasn't really open because there was a guy right there or a guy right in the lane. So they were doing a good job of not trying to overpressure when Vegas had the puck. So a lot of those times when they were in the zone, they couldn't really get anything. There weren't even shots available to take. So they just kind of moved it around. And then when they had the opportunity to create a turnover or jump and either get the puck out or move it out, they were doing that. I thought, especially in Game 4, it was really, really good. And it was a little bit hit and miss last game at some points. But overall, the D zone is just really, really solid right now. They're just not giving up high danger chances.
Do you think this was more Vegas didn't show up, or Edmonton just played so well they didn't allow Vegas to play their game?
It's tough to say. I didn't hate the way Vegas played. I thought that, there wasn't nearly as much of a push as I expected from them last game. In Game 5, I thought they were just going to come out flying 100 miles an hour and run everybody through the boards and just be throwing everything at the net, just trying to create complete mayhem. And we didn't get that. It was almost, it felt like overtime from the second the puck dropped, where they seemed to be playing a little bit of trying not to get scored on hockey. But other than that, I just think that the Oilers played extremely well, other than Game 2, when I don't think they necessarily deserved to win that. And Pickard played fantastic in that game, but that was purely just execution on the Oilers side, where they were getting caught in their own zone and they weren't getting clears. They were trying to get cute in different spots, and the execution on exiting the zone was just not there. And it was getting them in major trouble, both defensively, and then they had no offense either because they couldn't get anything going the other way. Other than that game, it was frustrating too for like Connor and Leon. Like Vegas played well defensively. They were committed to shutting down the middle of the ice. I mean, those guys. That's one great thing that the series is over right now. I mean, those were grinder games for Connor and Leon. Like, just they had to work so hard to try to get anything going. And so they can take a breather now, and I don't think whoever they're going to play is going to be able to do what Vegas did as far as containing them. So I think I would give it mostly to the Oilers on how they played and not Vegas playing poorly.
I think back to your first few appearances on our show, and boy, how far we've come since then. But it felt like every week it was like, all right, Doobie, let's break down some film. Which one of these are Skinner's fault and which one of these are Bouchard's fault? And Evan Bouchard in these playoffs, I don't think I got Oilers colored glasses on when I say this. In this series against Vegas, he looked like not a top pairing defenseman. He looked like a legitimate number one defenseman.
100%. And there's no, I mean, I can't even think, they're not even like bonehead plays or turnovers that didn't end up in the net. Like, you're just not seeing them anymore. And he's still contributing the same way offensively. He's still making great passes. He's creative. He's getting the puck out of his own end. He's still running the power play. I would love to see him use a shot more, but that's a different subject. He was fantastic. And there's not even, some guys when they're streaky like that and the turnovers can be as crazy as they were like in the first two games, or just the defensive play is like, you might kind of get some better defense, but you're still walking a thin line, and it's like, it's going to happen eventually. Maybe it just didn't cost you. I don't see anything. I just see he's playing smart. He's playing hard. He's aggressive when the pucks come to him. He's not going for big loops or just ending up in weird positions like he was before. He's there all the time, and he's winning battles, and he's moving pucks out. And you combine that with his offensive ability, there's your number one D-man.
I want to ask you about the handshake line. So we were talking about it before, and obviously we've seen the Oilers go through quite a few of them. I was in the building when they did it with LA. It seemed like there was a lot of conversation going on.
A bit more camaraderie almost
within the line, yeah, especially with guys like Kopitar and Doughty, those kind of guys. But like, for this one, it seemed to go so quickly, and Jack Eichel didn't say a word to Connor McDavid.
He didn't look at Connor McDavid.
You'll see it right away here. But what goes on in this line? Like, is there a lot of conversation that typically happens, or do you think it is kind of just like a quick thing that typically goes down?
It completely varies. There's definitely longer conversations with guys if you have a history with them. I mean, but again, it's like, I don't know, you just lost in 5 games. Like, that's the thing, right? It also completely varies on a mood that a guy's in, how the game ended. Was it like this? They just battled lost 1-0 in overtime. And they had, Stanley Cup aspirations. So a lot of it has to do with that exact moment in time. If the game was like 4-0 or something and everyone's had some time to accept that the game's over and the series is over, you might be in a different mood to maybe talk to each guy a little bit. But in a situation like this where your season could have extended or it just ended immediately right there, some guys just aren't going to feel like talking. But for the most part, you get pretty good conversations. And then again, it's dependent on your relationship and history with somebody. You don't necessarily have to have played with them before, but some guys you just played against a lot. You battle with them a lot, and it's over now, and it's a good job and good luck.
I was just going to ask about Adin Hill. Yesterday, he obviously allowed 1 goal, played pretty well, but that game, game 4,
when it was spicy,
the Oilers were just all over him in the first period. How much do you think they actually got in his head? And also, too, I've always wanted to know this. When the crowd is chanting a player's name, as a goalie, does that actually do anything?
No, but it can add. I mean, you have to expect it. But what it can do is it gets the crowd going, right? So they get going and they get loud, and then maybe there's a scoring chance there, and it kind of adds to that what can be a feeling of like being overwhelmed when, say they pop a couple goals and the crowd gets loud, they start chanting your name. It's not necessarily the name chanting; it's the fact that the crowd is getting loud. They're getting into it. They're all getting involved and participating in that, which gets them louder, and then all of a sudden a scoring chance happens. And the place is going crazy, and then you can start to get that kind of feeling of overwhelmed on the road, and they just keep coming at you. So it's more that everybody participates in it, and the crowd's loud and they get going than the actual chanting of your name. But I honestly don't know what happened with Adin Hill in Game 4. He was fired up from the get-go. I mean, usually when you see somebody that way, it's because their team's getting smoked. They're maybe have given up a couple goals combined with getting bumped a few times. And, and just the wires cross and you start to get angry and stuff. He just seemed angry right from the start. It was 0-0. And I guess we scored pretty quick, so it wasn't 0-0, but he seemed agitated right from the get-go for whatever reason. And it's okay. I don't think it cost him anything. I don't think it affected his play. I still thought he had a pretty good game. However, if your heart rate isn't up here and your emotions up here when you play well, if you're constantly fired up and your heart rate's way up here and you're fired up, like that's going to wear on you throughout a game if you're not used to that. And, he spent an entire period swinging his stick and trying, and it takes a toll. It just does if you're not used to that, and that's not how you play. Some guys thrive on that. I don't think a lot of goalies are those people that thrive on it. You got your Ray Emerys and your different guys who Robin Leonard, I'm sure, would enjoy that a little bit, but most guys I don't think thrive on that. So good for Edmonton. Anyway, too, they weren't doing anything crazy. They weren't running them. They just go stop. And when a guy's fired up like that, just go stand beside him. Look at him. You don't have to say anything. It's going to piss him off. Just seeing you stand there. I've been there before where it doesn't matter what happens. I'm just like, I want to slash anybody in the other team's jersey right now for no reason.
Oh, that's totally fair. I had one question for you too. You take a look at Stuart Skinner, circling back to him here. Last year he had to have the kind of reset against Vancouver in the second round. Then he stepped back in and was great for the Oilers all the way through really Game 7 of the finals. We're kind of seeing something like that similar here. Again, he struggles early against LA, gets some time off, and now he's come back with 2 shutouts. I guess my question for you is, where's your confidence level at in where Skinner's game is right now to potentially be able to continue to carry the load for this team?
Well, it's extremely high. Reason being what you just said, because he's done this before. He did this just last year. So he's been through adversity like this. Now, that combined with what I talked about earlier about how good he looked, if they had just closed the series out in game, what was that they lost? 3?
3, yeah.
Yeah. If they'd gone up 3-0 or closed the series out in that fashion, that he played okay and looked kind of the same as he had, I wouldn't have the same confidence. But the goalie I saw last night was not the goalie that I've seen all playoffs, and that is Stuart Skinner. That's why he's been good. That's why he got to the Cup finals last year. So my confidence level is very high because that, when that clicks for him, that's the goalie he is. It's not like a one game, he just felt it for a game. No, that's who he is. That's why he's a starting goalie in the NHL, and that's why he was a couple wins away from the Stanley Cup. So I think once that clicks and he feels that, if that sinks in and he starts to move like that, this is what the Oilers need, because they are playing so well defensively and they are limiting the other team's chances. They just need a guy to be comfortable and solid back there and come up with the right saves. And if he looks like that and is moving like that, I think he's going to be in very good position to be that guy. Now, what on earth, I can't believe we haven't talked about this yet, is going to happen when Pickett's healthy. If Stu gets a few more, what if Stu starts and gets a couple wins? It's a weird situation. It was an impossible situation to begin with, him stepping in. He's 0-2, Picks is 6-0. By the way, here you go. The most difficult situation mentally you could probably be put in at that moment. And then to have the game go the way it did and him come back with back-to-back shutouts is not a lot of people can do that. So you can say what you want about him. That's a very, very, very impressive feat.
Yeah, I think it's no-brainer. Game 1 Western Conference Final, regardless of Pickett's health. I think you're going with the high-ceiling Stuart Skinner, right? You can't sit a guy off back-to-back shutouts. I know no one loses their job because of injury, but you can lose your job because of injury if a guy does that 127 minutes.
Well, it wasn't his job to begin with, so that's the thing. It's he is, Stu's the starter. That was the plan. That was, and I felt like an idiot because I was they aren't getting there without Stuart Skinner. Now I feel like a really smart guy because he came back and they aren't getting there without Stuart Skinner, but they're also not getting there without Picks being great too. So, hey, great problem to have. Not the problem that anybody expected to be talking about before playoffs, but if you need to have a conversation about you don't know who to start because they're both great, that's a good problem to have.
Last one. I know everyone's been bringing it up in our chat all show, but I was saving it because I wanted to ask you about it. The news today, Sam Gagner officially retiring, taking a role as the director of player development with the Ottawa Senators. You were obviously his teammate for a number of years. What were your early memories of Sam Gagner, the Oiler?
Oh, I was close with Sam, and he's an amazing guy. He came in super young like that, and I remember very clearly he was like a shootout wizard. Yeah. I'm sure all Oilers fans remember that, but that was kind of early in the shootout days. And I want to say, I don't know, maybe like it probably only been around for a few years at that time. And he came in and was just a wizard. But, he was a smaller guy, great guy in the room. He was hilarious. He was always in a good mood. And I mean, like feisty for not a big player. Like he played a long time just because he had his skill, but he worked extremely hard. And he kind of found his spot even when he wasn't necessarily there to be a skill guy towards the end. I mean, he extended his career for a really, really long time just because of his work ethic and being liked and being a well-liked guy in the room. So, I wasn't surprised to see them going back east to the Toronto area, but it's exciting to see somebody like that who's lived and breathed hockey for his whole life to be able to slide right into the game and perfect role for him as well. He was as skilled as anybody.
I think he's on the Mount Rushmore of like most beloved Oilers of all time. It's like him and who else would even be? Yeah, him, Smitty. Like he's in that echelon of Oiler, without a doubt.
Yeah, for sure.
You were the goalie for his 8-point game, right?
Yep, I was there. I wasn't nearly as excited as anybody else because it was like 6-4, and we were just going like 3-on-1s back and forth. And I was like, fellas, like I know this is great, but it's the third period and we're winning a hockey game. Like we don't have to trade 3-on-1s with the other team, but apparently we did. And fortunately, we won 8-4. It was crazy. It was so cool. This is before I knew. I don't even think I knew he had 6 points at this time. I was just like, what the hell is going on right now? Like,
you're just more pissed about the odd man rushes.
Hockey. It's just pawn hockey. Like I was like, you know how hard it was to get wins? And then like we got a 2-goal lead in the third period. Like this does not happen very often. We need to shut this thing down. And it was just a free for all. But that was a crazy night. I don't even think like when we were on the bench when he got his 8th, everybody was like, oh my god, and I was like, I was in the net the whole time, so I was like, what? I mean, I know he had an amazing game, but there's a few in there that you don't really realize that it wasn't a primary assist on it, so you don't really think about it. And then it's like, wow, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah. That's so funny that like they would be on the bench being like, Sam, like one more point, you set the record, and Doobie's back to like these fuckers are cheating for offense. What are they doing?
No, there was a lot of cheating for offense. So listen, I had to grind for wins there, like I said. So forgive me if that's where my mind was.
That's hilarious.
We're always looking for like content to do in the summer. It would be great. Like I know you told the yak story the other day too. It'd be great to like go back and rewatch the videos with you and like do a whole like series on like those iconic moments from those years, because there were a handful of them. Like what's going through your mind when this goal happens and this goal happens. But Doobie, appreciate the stories, appreciate the insight, and we got a couple of days off, a weekend with no pre and post games. That's not bad.
Yeah. This is weird. It feels like a weekend off, but I'll be living at the youth hockey rinks.
Yeah, I guess.
I'll enjoy it for the both of us, Doobs. Don't worry.
Perfect.
Okay, see you, Devan.
See you, Devin.
All right, see you guys.
All right.
He scored his first goal of the season that night in the 8-4 win over Chicago.
Oh, it's got to be like Nick Schultz or some shit.
No, Ryan Whitney.
Oh, there you go.
Cam Barker also got in on the scoring. Primary assist from Andy Sutton. Of course, Sam Gagner.
Here, I'll add this. You rattled off some of those defensemen. Doobie, I don't think they were cheating for offense. They were incapable of playing defense. They were just bad defensively, I think.
The blue line that night, Cam Barker, Jeff Petrie, Corey Potter, Laddie Schmid, Andy Sutton, Ryan Whitney. Corey Potter played a high on the blue line, 23 minutes, 24 seconds, 8 minutes of power play time for Corey Potter that night.
Can I see the roster from 8 minutes of power play time for Corey Potter? So we've obviously had the goalie Doobie on the show. We've had Witt. We've had Laddie. I don't know if we could get any of those other defense. Oh, we've had Andy Sutton on. Remember he had his hockey Verbero.
Oh, yeah, we
did his
have
hockey
Andy
thing.
Sutton.
So we've had Andy Sutton.
Ken Barker we could get. He is an owner of the V's.
He's your boss.
He is technically my boss.
Okay.
I could see what I can do there.
Up front, Doobie said he could help us get Ryan Jones on the network.
I'm working on it. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's
That'd be
gonna
great.
happen.
Ryan Smith, don't think we could.
That would be a tough. I don't think it's like unrealistic.
I don't think that's impossible.
But it'd be a tough one.
Hemsky, hand up, left me on red last year during the playoffs. That was that was a real gut punch.
Tough.
Leonard Petrell.
Who knows?
Won't
knows?
answer my DMs.
Yeah, won't answer my DMs. Lander, no. Horkoff, well, he works for someone now.
In the
so probably
summer,
not.
though, he might be available.
Yeah, maybe.
We could get him in like late July.
What are you guys talking about? Sean Horkoff's in the chat every single
true.
day.
Taylor Hall, active player. Maybe when the Canes roll into town one year, we could trick Canes PR into thinking we're actual
Cup
media.
final.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there you go. Hall, that's possible. Eberle.
We could.
We could.
Gregor has a great relationship
Yeah, he does.
with Eberle.
Ben Eager
I don't know if we want him.
had 3 shots on goal that game.
Wow.
Philippe Cornette, what the hell do you think he's up to?
Philippe Cornette.
He's probably got the most free time of all. Like,
bet he's
actually, no, he's
playing
actually probably working.
Division 2 France.
I was going to say something really mean. Shout out Philippe Cornette.
Is that the last one? Oh, and Eric Belanger. I think he hates it here.
Why?
Oh, can you? I would love to have
That would be a good
Belanger
one.
on and be like, what did you believe in so much that you wanted the 3rd year? What did you see? No one else saw it. Okay.
God.
What a year.
What a year.
Tyler Mueller put in it. It's like Corey Potter, PP1 feels fake. How far we've got.
It is
It
crazy.
was just a terrifying thought of him playing 23 minutes in a hockey game.
No
Yeah.
wonder we allowed 4 goals that night.
All right.
10.
That's a wrap on today's edition of the show. Once again, Bet365. Got to give them another shout out before we wrap things up. An official partner of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Download the app. Must be 19 or older. They got game props, player props, totals, money line. You can even bet on futures like the conference champion and, of course, the Stanley Cup champion. Whatever your bet, it's never ordinary at Bet365. I got some baseball bets going on right now that I'm watching. Oh, the Jays are down 2-0 in the first. Well, so much for those baseball bets.
Chicago only played with 5 defensemen that game.
That's why they gave up 8 points. Shout out to Sam Gagner on a great career.
Yeah. He's not officially retired yet.
I mean, he's the director of player development with the Senators. I feel like that goes...
Anything
Player
could
coach.
happen.
Oh, would be sick. Down in Belleville. He did finish his last pro stint was obviously with Belleville this last year.
Great player, great Oiler. I'm disappointed he's not going to Bakersfield.
Yeah, I'd love to see him in the Oilers org.
Yeah, I
he
would
was
too.
like last year. Like, of course, we got credentials during the Cup Finals last year. I still have it pinned on my Twitter page. I interviewed Gagner.
Yeah.
It was hands down my favorite interview I've ever done.
Yeah, that was a really good piece.
He's a good
so
dude.
good.
I wish
Such
he
a
got
good guy.
a game.
Speaking of good guys, thanks for doing this show for 45 minutes, Zach.
Oh, yeah.
My
thanks,
pleasure.
Zach.
Yeah, that was great. Everybody in the YouTube, that was awesome. The Edmonton Oilers are off to the Western Conference Final, and we got a weekend with no hockey.
Oh, sorry. There's someone put in the chat that they were from Austria,
Yep.
and they managed to get up and watch the 3rd period in overtime yesterday.
Shout out to
And
them.
also, Austria is currently beating Canada in the World Championship.
Oh, boy.
So that's good. So shout out to that
Also,
person.
should
Sorry,
we watch
Michigan.
the Brett video? The chat keeps clamoring for it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Brett video. Yes, let's watch it. The NHL posted this.
Yeah.
Saucer, there's a shot, deflected, hit a scrabbler's hand, it's loose, it's in, Edmonton has won the game and the series! Skinner second shutout in a row! Come on, the baby! Yes!
Where's the Bumbo, baby?
As well, listener of the
Why
show.
isn't that
is
kid
there.
in bed?
Because it's the playoffs.
Yeah,
Decent
come on,
point.
Grandpa.
Yeah. All right. That was awesome. We're back tomorrow, noon Mountain Time. Jason Demers and more. In the meantime, read Zach's stuff at OilersNation.com and enjoy your Thursday. We'll be back tomorrow. Oil up.